What's good? What's going on, everyone? So another Friday night, 10 p.m. EST episode of the And One podcast. This is your man, Cool McCain. I'm joined by the venerable Con Man. Con Man, what's going on tonight, man?
What's going on, my brother, man? How you doing?
Hey, man, I cannot complain. It's another wonderful night in the world of sports.
Absolutely.
So yeah, man, we are going to be rocking it by ourselves tonight. It's all good. I don't think that's something that we can't handle. So there's some things to talk about, and I'd love to get your take. Some things that are, I guess, they're related to basketball, but they're a little off the court, so to speak, but still basketball related. So I think it's things that we would be remiss if we didn't discuss. So the first one, of course, and we'll shout out Mike real quick. What's going on, Mike? Appreciate you watching, man.
What's going on, Mike?
So the first one, of course, would be the release of one Brittany Griner. So I'd love to, hear your thoughts on that, Con Man.
Well, it's unfortunate that all happened. I mean, obviously, she was held as a political hostage, and it's unfortunate she was a target. And I'm so happy for her wife, her family, and glad she's back in the United States. And I'm glad what the NBA, the WNBA, and basically the USA has done to bring attention to her. And I'm glad she's home. I could not even understand or try to understand what she went through during those 9 months. That had to be a total crazy mess, but I'm glad she's back home. And I know, I guess we left one person back, and I know her and her wife are going to try to do everything to get the other person back, and all those who are over there suffering as well.
Yeah, I have. I definitely agree with what you said. I just have a little bit of a different take on the entire situation.
Okay.
I feel like Brittany Griner was singled out because they knew that she was a big enough star where Russia could play the long game, which is what they did. Right? They singled her out. I mean, people want to say, "Oh, she shouldn't have had, any paraphernalia." Oh, I completely agree. But this is Russia. Russia could have just took and dropped some in there if they wanted to, to serve their means, because who was going to say that that's not what happened? Right? I think what we have to focus on is the fact that, yeah, we only got Brittany Griner back, but this was Russia's plan all along. Russia's plan was, we're going to create a situation where there's a high enough profile person that they're going to have to give us who we want, which is an arms dealer, right?
Right.
So a lot of people are complaining. A lot of negative thoughts have been said about Brittany Griner because of the situation. But at the end of the day, this is a human being wrongfully detained or wrongfully treated after detainment within the country. Obviously, go to different countries; they have different laws. But the thing is, I know they make a lot of money for the ladies when they play overseas, but you put yourself in these type of situations if you're in certain countries. And obviously, this hadn't happened before. But I do know that Angel McCoughtry is one of the players, and I'm sure there'll be more that have said, like, I'm not going back to Russia after that. I mean, they can make in a month what they make in a season in the US, but you run the risk of these type of things. So there's the pluses and the minuses. I think Russia wanted to make sure that we were focused on Brittany Griner, not what's happening in Ukraine and other things. They successfully did that because whether you like Brittany Griner, whether you wanted to demonize her, you were focused on it, you were talking about it, and that's what they wanted. They got their guy back. We got Brittany Griner, and I hope she is successful in finding a way to get some of those other people home, because I know she wrote an impassioned letter where she said, please bring the other people home as well. But I do also want to point out to all the hypocrites, none of you people were doing anything to try to get these people back before Brittany Griner was there, and you went out and found other people to say, oh, we should get these people too. So if you're really focused on getting those people, why haven't you been bringing them up beforehand? That's the hypocrisy that we do here in the States. When it's somebody we don't want that's in a certain position, we also want, oh, now we talk about these other people that we hadn't been talking about until then.
And cool, on the Stephen A. Smith show this morning, they had Becky Hammonds, who is the Las Vegas Aces coach. And she played over there for 7 years. Yep. And she stated that she was treated very well. And Stephen A. Smith brought up the fact, okay, it may not be a big thing here, what she was caught with, but is a big thing there. And she said, Steve, let me tell you something right now. It's not a big thing. All you got to do is make a call. It had been gone away. But as you stated, they wanted to use her because of her fame and what she could do for Russia.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it was a very tough situation to deal with. And I'm just glad it all worked out well. I mean, it's not over yet. There are things that have to be accomplished, but I'm happy she's home with her wife and family. And, hopefully she can return to playing in the WNBA. I don't think right now that's her major focus, but I hope everything goes well for her and her family and all is well.
Yeah. I will just say, I definitely feel like Russia would treat Becky Hammond a lot better than they would Brittany Griner.
Great point. Great point.
So Becky, says the type of comments, and I get it. Like your bubble is your bubble, but Becky is in several different categories than Brittany Griner.
Correct.
And those are categories that they're not too fond of in Russia. So, it is what it is. But like you said, she is back, so that's a relief to her family and a lot of people who really wanted her back. A lot of WNBA players, especially her teammates, a lot of NBA players, a lot of people outside of sports in general, a lot of sportscasters, a lot of people are happy that she's back, and maybe this will be a catalyst to help her think maybe a little differently about some comments that she's made in the past. So I hope, this experience has enlightened her, broadened her, and given her time to think and maybe correct some comments that may have been misconstrued or just may have been poor comments that she's made in the past. But everybody deserves a chance to right wrongs. And, she's going to have that now. I hope she does get to play as well. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to have her back because she does make, Phoenix a much different team with her. So I'm excited for those ladies because they can focus on their season this year and not their sister who's pretty much, locked up and not able to do anything. So, it's a definitely positive story in my mind all around. Some people may feel like we didn't get enough back, but Russia's only going to give us what they were going to give us. They already had predetermined that.
Now, cool. Let me ask you a question. Given the fact, you know me, given the fact of what happened and what transpired in Russia, what do you think, or is it possible that the NBA maybe or the WNBA can do something whereby the players who are playing in the WNBA do not have to go overseas to earn that money. Now, I know the answer might be, well, the owners in the WNBA aren't making the kind of money that the owners of the NBA are. But what can you think that maybe WNBA should do, maybe with the support of the NBA, that can keep our players here?
Well, that's the $1 million question. And there's a couple of things that I think people can do. Number one, support the WNBA, right? It's getting better, but the WNBA just this past year was able to actually break even, so not operate under a loss. Those are the type of things that have to happen. They have to sell more merchandise. They have to make more money. The thing is, a lot of WNBA players have came out and said recently, and they said it last year as well, that they want to be paid like NBA players. So people misconstrued that in the dollar amount. That's not what they were saying. What they were saying is they want the same percentages. Obviously, it's a lower overhead, so it's going to be a lower dollar amount, but the same percentages the NBA players get. So if you pay them the same percentages, you give them opportunities. The stars of the league get the same opportunities the stars of the NBA get.
Mm-hmm.
Those are things that may help a longer WNBA season. But again, that's all predicated on people watching, people buying the merchandise, people going to the games, people supporting them when the games are on TV, watching them. These are all critical pieces that the WNBA is working towards. They are doing better than they were, much better, but there's still a lot of ways to go. There's a lot of people who don't watch the WNBA. There's a lot of people who don't care about WNBA. A lot of people have never given it an opportunity or a chance. And the thing is, if you watch something and you say, this is not for me, I can respect it because nobody likes everything. But the game that they're putting on the floor, and these ladies are very good players, right? They're very fundamental.
Mm-hmm.
They play team basketball. They play better defense in the NBA. If you actually walk in the WNBA, it's called a walk, right? You don't have people doing step backs. That's really a walk, but you just let it go. So you have them playing an actual fundamental basketball game. For those basketball purists, and I know someone like yourself being an OG in the game, you appreciate a game where you actually see fundamentals being played. The WNBA is that place. And that's not to knock the NBA or say that there's not a place for the NBA, because obviously it's the most popular of the two leagues by far. But there's a place and a niche for the WNBA. It just has to grow. That's the main way that those ladies can get that pay and not need to go overseas and play. And then also, I think it's maybe working a partnership with certain leagues and saying, hey, we'll have our players come and play in your league in the offseason, but we need certain guarantees for those players so that they don't run into a situation like what happened with Brittany Griner. And I think those are the two things that can be done to try to help these ladies get more money so that they're not just going everywhere. And it may not be getting the money you were getting in Russia, but getting a nice, reasonable amount to go to certain leagues that work with the WNBA. So that way there's a working relationship and there's a comfort level with going to those particular countries and playing in those particular leagues.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I agree with you. Great point.
Hey, dude, I can't even when you put me on the spot, man. But yeah, man, we definitely can move on and get into another interesting topic. And that was Mr. Kyrie Irving, who has been dropped by Nike. Had some very interesting quotes on the shoes the other night. I don't know if you saw them.
I saw them.
Yeah. But so tell me, man, what are your thoughts on Kyrie on Nike, and where do you think, if anywhere, he'll go next to have his shoe?
Well, obviously, Kyrie has obviously received a whole lot of negativity regarding his anti-Jewish statements, whatever. And a lot of sponsorships have, I guess, got rid of him per se. But in this regard, after doing a little bit of research today, matter of fact, it seemed like it was a mutual agreement. And I think Kyrie stated that he feels free. And now, from what I gather, his sneaker was like one of the best or one of the most profitable sneakers for Nike. And I feel that in order for him to feel the way that he does, he must have known or feel something that maybe we do not feel or we don't know. And for him to make that stand. For this one, I'm going to give him, excuse me, the benefit of the doubt. I mean, they wanted to drop him. He wanted to drop them. It was a mutual agreement. Of course, Nike is a very profitable organization, company per se. But I also think that Kyrie knows what he's doing in this regard. And to answer your part 2 question, something tells me he's going to go something different. He's not going to go with the Adidas or the Reebok. I think he's going to maybe come up with his own brand. I think he's going to do something really independent of all other NBA ball players. That's my belief.
Okay. Well, I'll be more than happy to share my thoughts as well.
I know you will.
I think Nike villainized him. I think the suspension on the court is one thing. I can understand that because there wasn't the level of contrition that they felt comfortable with after, he tweeted what he tweeted or whatever, and they didn't feel like he, did what they needed to do. And that's them. That's fine. Some of the sponsors that pulled out is cool, but for Nike, you shot yourself in the foot to jump on the bandwagon of, oh yeah, we're shutting them down too. You're upset because he stated that he didn't like the creative vision for his new shoe that was coming out. He didn't like it, and he wanted to let people know he had nothing to do with it, and he thought it was garbage. I think he has the right to be able to feel that way about his shoe. If he wants to say that, I don't have a problem with that either. I think what was happening is every time Kyrie says something, and I will say for me, about 70% of the time it's ridiculous. But for real. But there are things that he says that anybody else could say, and we wouldn't look at it differently. But because it's Kyrie, we look at it differently. And I think this is one of those times about the shoes, right? I think holding this stuff back, withholding it would have been a better message than just outright dropping him or outright, allowing him out of the contract or however they, did it. But he was one of your best sellers. And I have a couple of those pair of shoes, man, and those are some good basketball shoes. Okay. So losing those, Nike, sometimes you shoot yourself in the foot and you don't really get anything back from it. So if that's what you decide to do, that's what you decide to do. I think it's a poor decision. But again, I'm not the one that's the decision maker at Nike, but I think it will come back to haunt them at some point. As far as what he'll do, I don't think he'll go to Adidas or Reebok because I think they'll just want him to do the same thing as Nike. There's 2 places I could see him going for American shoes. I could see maybe him doing some type of collab with Puma because they're an up-and-coming company in basketball again, so they would be more open to doing maybe a different type of split where he can keep a lot of the money, keep a lot of the creative control. A lot of people have been talking about New Balance. I don't think you go from a Nike basketball shoe to a New Balance shoe. I just don't feel like that's a good basketball shoe. They don't have a lot of variety yet either. I think the other place would be something similar to what Steph Curry has with And1. Because see, Steph has it where, not And1, Under Armour. Right. Steph has it where he kind of takes control of the Steph Curry brand. It's under Armour, but it's the Steph Curry brand. So he can sign other athletes and do all those things. And I think that's something that maybe a guy like Kyrie, who has the recognition that he has, may be interested in doing because he seems to be a pretty solid businessman, right? A lot of his personal beliefs are wonky, but he seems to be a solid businessman. Yeah. And that's the separation of the two. A lot of people can't separate the two, but you have to be able to do that. So I think that that's a way he could go. And I actually think that the Under Armour would be the more realistic option for him just because it allows him to have a big company. They don't have 7 to 10 major shoes out right now. So you can still get in, or a company that has shown they can do some things in basketball. They can market a shoe. People love the Steph Curry shoes. I haven't liked them in the last few years, but whatever. But people do. So I think that's a way he could go as well to build that Kyrie Irving brand back up and still put out a quality shoe that's near the kind of shoes that he was putting out with Nike.
I agree.
It's weird, man, when we don't have the people that just kind of disagree with you just for the sake of disagreeing with you. But yeah, man, that's where we're at. So another thing that I want to kind of touch on a little bit here, Con, man, is the standings.
Okay.
Our NBA standings for the Eastern and the Western Conference. So we'll go ahead and start out west. I got a little bit of a shocker here, I would say, to most people. We have the New Orleans Pelicans at 16-8 as the number one team in the West. What are your thoughts on the Pelicans?
Well, when we first started the show, Cool, I had stated that the Pelicans were going to be the surprise of the NBA.
You did.
I mean, yeah, yes, I did. So, I feel with the fact that Williamson's playing out of his mind and Ingram, and they just have a solid nucleus. They got a great coach that they love playing for. I feel that, and for the most part, they've been very healthy. And I think that they have surprised the NBA, but not me. I felt all along that they were going to be one of the top 4 or 5 teams coming out the West. Did I think they'd be in first place? No. Did I think they'd be going on a 5-game winning streak? No. But you watch them, they're just having fun. They're just having fun. They got the backup of the community. I mean, the place is packed. And they just have the wherewithal and the makings of becoming a good team, even a better team as the year goes further. And they're just going to get better and better. Now, the key is if they can stay healthy. And that's the key to most teams, if they can stay healthy. But if they can maintain their healthy, they're going to be tough to deal with, especially if they get the home court advantage.
Very true. And just a couple of people to point out on that team. They've got Jonas Valanciunas as a center.
Yes.
You got CJ McCollum there.
Can't forget about him.
You cannot. They've got Larry Nance Jr.
Yes.
These are a couple of lesser known but still important names. Jackson Hayes.
Yes.
Willie Hernan-Gomez. These are guys that bring depth and importance to the team. You also have, of course, Brandon Ingram. You also have, of course, Zion Williamson. But there's other pieces there.
The little guy, what's his name?
Devontae Graham as well.
No, the other one.
The other one,
he's from New York.
Let's see.
He wear a headband?
Talking about Kira Lewis?
No. He got the. I forgot what his name is. He's the one that steals from the backcourt.
I'm trying to think of which guy that is.
He got 38 points the other night for them.
Let's see.
He's coming out strong. I mean, he wasn't even expected to make the team about 2 years ago, make the NBA, never mind. And he's been a great addition to that team, providing a lot of defense, which he's more of like a nuisance, like a Patrick Beverly, but with way more offensive ability. And
it take a lot to have more offensive ability.
I know. I've been watching him. I was watching him tonight, matter of fact. But yeah, this kid can play. I feel great for him because he paid his dues, and he's doing a phenomenal job for them. He's loved by the ownership, the players, the coach, and he's just doing a phenomenal job. But again, back to New Orleans Pelicans. I knew they were going to be very good. I didn't expect them to be this good. But Cool, it's early yet. It's still early. So, but they have lived up to, or more than lived up to their expectations.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, trying to figure out the players that had the big game the other night, but we'll move on and then we'll figure out. We can always hop back and discuss it again for sure. Now let's see. Gotta get back to my standings here. All right, so for the Western Conference again, the number 2 team right now is the 16-9 Phoenix Suns, who've maintained, the second place. They were first, of course, but maintain second place with Chris Paul missing some games, but they're still able, to get some wins and still staying at top 2 out in the West. Your thoughts on the Phoenix Suns?
Cool. I can't figure them out. I don't know how they do what they're doing right now. I mean, they have a very good record. Of course, Chris Paul not being healthy, and to be able to do what they're doing has just really surprised me. I don't think they're that deep. And if you want to know what I really truly believe, I never expected them to be at 16-9 right now, especially having the fact that Chris Paul, their leader, is not present. Well, he came back, I guess, last night. But I don't think they can compare with the rest of the Western Conference teams. And to me, it's got to be probably the coaching or, the proper rotations or whatever they're doing. But yeah, they have definitely shocked me without a question. I didn't think I thought they'd be down to the bottom 3 or 4, if you really want to know the truth. But they have shocked me. What's your take?
Yeah, I would say I'd agree, man. I'm on fire with this, so this is not anything new or surprising anybody. It's not anything I've been on. I'm not a huge Chris Paul fan, but I'm not a Chris Paul.
Watch out! We got one of our members.
I just think
better watch out. He might be tuned in.
He'll be all right. I'm not a huge Chris Paul fan, but I don't think that he's a horrible player at all. I just don't think he's great. I just think he's very good, which is a different level. But yes. I do think that the veteran leadership that he brings to the team, the savvy, those type of things, I thought they would miss because he can affect the game, at least slightly if he's not making shots, because he will pass the ball. He will, kind of sometimes get in another guy's head, talk a little trash, those sort of things. So he can affect the game in a way, even if he's not playing. So I did think not having him would push them down further, but you have to give props to a lot of those other guys on the team.
Yes.
Guys like DeAndre Ayton, guys like Devin Booker, and so on and so forth. They've held that team together. Other guys have stepped up in his absence. And this is something this is not the first time. Paul's missed games with injury before. I mean, he's been around a while, so him playing 82 games may not be realistic anymore. But there's other guys on the team that step up and, play hard when he's not there. And this just gave them an extended opportunity to do so. And they took advantage of it. The West right now, less wins than the top teams in the East, but that's okay because the West has been playing each other. They've been, beating on each other, and they've got beaten up a little bit by the East, let's be honest. But, to still be number 2, you now have Chris Paul back. That should make you whole. That should allow for other guys to be able to play maybe a little bit harder and smaller stretches, because now you don't have to change the rotations because you need to have certain people in with certain people to score because Chris Paul's not there. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's been impressive of them to do so. Knock on the Phoenix Suns. They could win, 50, 60 games in the regular season. What are we going to do in the playoffs? That's always a question to me with the Phoenix Suns.
Absolutely.
Always has been.
Right.
And third, we got the Memphis Grizzlies.
Ooh, okay.
16-9 as well. So what are your thoughts on those guys?
Well, Memphis, to me, they are the most enjoyable team to watch. I mean, they just have that dog in them. All of them. They're young. They're hungry. They just go out there, next man up. When Ja goes out, next man up. and they got a great. Not only do they have a great starting five, they have a great bench. They're very enthusiastic. They play well defensively, and again, I like watching the way they play. I like the way that they play together. And if you know defensively, they're almost like a, I guess you want to call it like a tightrope. The way they play their zones, and they manipulate their zones, and they go into different formations defensively. They switch it up, and again, they are so athletically talented. I mean, you got 4 or 5 guys on that team have over 45-inch vertical, or close to that. I might be exaggerating. At least over 40-inch vertical, and they're so athletic, and they can manipulate and go into the 2, 3, 4. Them guys can play 3, 4 positions, most of them, and I think that enables them to do a lot of things that a lot of teams can't do, and I think that's what enables them to be the way that they are. That's the reason why they can stay into games. And then you got that guy, Ja. I watched this guy. He is just, I didn't think I would ever see someone like a Allen Iverson, but he reminds me so much of an Allen Iverson. It's incredible. This guy can get anywhere on the court, do anything he wants to do on the court. And I think he's brought a joy. I think he's brought a lot of, I guess, attention to Memphis, the community, and everything else he's doing. And again, he's just a baby. He's young. My only fear about him is because he has so much hops. When you jump that high, when you come down, it's so much pressure. And that's what can cause injuries. I'll use an example, Derrick Rose. He reminds me of Derrick Rose in the sense that they jump off the floor so high and so high, when they come down, can be susceptible to injuries. That's my only main concern. But getting back to Memphis, they're fun to watch. They had a good opportunity last year, but Ja got hurt. If Ja stays healthy, things may change. I think you may see them in the Western Conference Final. I'm close to it.
Yeah, Michael came up. I got the answer myself as well, but Michael did give us the answer. Jose Alvarado.
I saw that. I knew that.
Yep.
That's my man, Mike. He knows everything.
Appreciate that, Mike. It's always good to get a little assist now and then.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, there's not a lot more that needs to be said about Memphis. Ja is a dog. You know, he's in that same draft with Zion. There was questions about who should be 1 and who should be 2 to some people. A lot of people thought Zion was the guy, and that's fine. He still can be. You know, just had to get over the injuries and everything. He's done that, and that's one of the reasons why the Pelicans are number 1 right now. But you know, man, I'm not even gonna waste the time. You pretty much covered Memphis very well. Well said, Con man. No need to go behind that. We'll just keep it moving. Okay. And we'll go to number 4 team out west, the Denver Nuggets, and we're gonna do the top 6 from each conference. Those teams that basically, if the season ended right now, would not be in the play-in.
Okay. Obviously, Houston will not be in the play-in. San Antonio, they're going for I can't pronounce his name, but they're going for him. They're going to shoot for him.
Yeah. So we ain't got to worry about them, but we'll stay with the top ones here. So at number 4, we have the Denver Nuggets.
Okay.
Denver. These guys.
All right, Denver.
My guys.
Well, Denver, they're playing pretty well right now. They got Murray back. I watched them the other night. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then you got to remember, if Porter comes back healthy, they're going to be tough to deal with. They maintained without him. And, 15-10 this year so far, I think they're playing pretty well. The big man's, he's doing his thing. I think he's getting into better shape. And he's one of the best passing big men I've ever seen. And they have a very good coach. And I think that they're going to be reputable. I think they're going to be very hard to deal with. But, they're one of them teams that always get there, but they don't get there. You know what I mean? They get there, but they don't get there. They always seem something happens, like Murray getting hurt. Something happens during the course of the end of the regular season or even into the playoffs where they just don't produce as they did in the regular season. So I think that if Porter comes back and he's healthy, and Murray again, it's all about being healthy. But if they can maintain their well-being, I think they're going to be a tough team to deal with. Again, another team that's fun to watch. You know what I mean? I like the way they spread the floor, the way they pass the ball. They use all the perimeter backcourt. They use pick and roll, pick and pop. They do a lot of pick and roll and a lot of things that me as a player I can relate to. And I enjoy watching them play because they are fundamentally sound. They don't really have too many great leapers. I don't think they're really athletic as Memphis, but they are more fundamentally sound in a lot of regards. And I think that's going to carry them through the rest of the regular season.
So, yeah, one of the concerns I have, I'm a Nuggets fan, is backup center. Right now we have DeAndre Jordan. He's a guy that can give you a few minutes a game, but not a lot. So I think that's a concern with him being the only other guy over 6'10" on the team besides Michael Porter Jr. and Jokic. And we definitely not putting Michael Porter Jr. As center. So I think that can be a slight concern. I do love Aaron Gordon.
Yes.
He is that guy for us, the athletic guy that you talk about, as well as a guy that a lot of people forget that we have in Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown will pull the three, dunk on Johan Potts, and do everything in between.
Nets should never got rid of him. Nets should never got rid of him. But hey, that's where it goes.
Appreciate you, Nets. Appreciate you. Real talk. Then Kentavious Caldwell Pope is another guy, not a athletic, does a lot, not a starter type guy, but a guy that can really be a great in a role for you. Also like Jeff Green, off the bench, Uncle Jeff, the OG.
He is an OG.
And then remember, Bones Highland is really coming along and being a guy that we can pair in the backcourt with Jamal Murray. He's only 6'2", but when you see that dude play, he looked like he's 6'5".
And who does he remind you of? Jamal Crawford. Crawford.
He actually does. I actually was thinking that.
And he fun to watch. That dude got some handle, boy. I tell you,
and he come out, man, and he will shoot anything. He has no fear, and I love it because you have to have guys like that. I'm gonna take an approach that's a little different from a lot of people. If Michael Porter Jr. cannot play another game for us this year, we can still win the championship. And you know why?
Oh, I agree.
Because I think guys like Davon Reed, Colin Gillespie, one of our backup point guards, and Christian Braun, some guys that people may not know a lot about, but they come out, they play hard, they shoot the ball. When they hit the floor, they get their minutes, they give it all.
Yes.
And that's what you need. You need some of those guys that they can only go hard for 10, 15 minutes, but that 10, 15 minutes, they really give it to you. Yes. And that's what I think Denver has, and that's what they were missing last year, that depth. And a lot of these guys, that was their first time actually being called upon to do more. Highlands was a rookie, and a lot of other guys, they had their first time being called in to do more. Some of the guys that we had that helped us last year, we had to get rid of, but that's unfortunately how this league works. But I think if Jamal Murray can start to get more back to being who he was, and he doesn't have to necessarily be 100% of who he was, right? Because other guys around have stepped up, so he won't have to do as much. But if we can get him to 80, 85% of what he was, and that's not going to happen till mid-season, right? You don't sit out a whole year of basketball and you come out the first 20 games and you're looking like the same guy. Right. We're not going to get that for probably another 10 games or so. But once we get that around the All-Star break, hopefully, and after, that's going to elevate this team even more. There have been a couple of games that they've lost where I'm like, what are y'all doing? And the only thing I can think of is just everybody filling each other out and understanding their new roles on the team. So they can go up, they can go down. It's going to all depend on what they do. But like you said, this is the year to push yourself into the upper echelon of the Western Conference, and there shouldn't be any more excuses. You've got what you need. You don't have everything. Even without Michael Porter Jr., you can still get to and win a championship. He makes it a little bit easier, but you have other guys on the team because you know that there's been some injury history with him.
I agree. They're going to be very tough to deal with in the Western Conference. They're going to be very tough.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to watch, and they are in spurts, right? It's like you said, they're definitely not the Grizzlies. I'm not trying to pretend that they are, but in spurts, they give you some very good numbers. And then another surprise, I think, the Sacramento Kings are 5th in the mess.
Sacramento, they have been like the dumpsters of the NBA for like a lot of years. You know what I mean? And I guess no one ever thought they would be doing anything for the next few seasons. But I mean, they got a good draft pick. He's playing very well. I like the way they're playing. Fox is playing out of his mind. I think that they're going to be another up and coming team. And again, they're young. They're very young. And guess what? They got a few more draft picks that coming their way. They're going to be an up and coming team. Again, me being out here on the East Coast, I don't get to see them as much, but I do watch a lot of film on them, and they seem like a real tough team to deal with. They're very confident. They're very young. Again, they got that dog in them too, because you give them Sacramento. Again, they've been in the doghouse for so many years, and now I think teams are beginning to be worried about them because they're up and coming. And again, they got that dog in them, and they're fun to watch.
Yep.
And they bring all that excitement and determination and hustle, and they're going to be a tough team to deal with. Very shocked that they're doing as well as they are. Very shocked.
Yeah, they have a lot of dogs. That's for sure. They have a lot of dogs. There's no arguing with that. I mean, we can go, to quite a few people, but some of the ones that stick out to me: Domantas Sabonis,
yes,
Alex Lynn, just man in that middle, big 7'2" wingspan. Not the most athletic guy, but can do what you need him to do. Malik Monk, a sneak pickup from off the Lakers last year, was one of their better players, one of the more consistent players last year. Davion Mitchell, Trey Lyles is a guy that doesn't get a lot of talk, but good hustle guy. Keegan Murray,
nice.
Talk about him. Obviously, Harrison Barnes, De'Aaron Fox, and another guy that's a little bit of a sleeper that a lot of people don't talk about either, Matthew Dellavedova. He's a defensive little gnat. He'll give you a few points, but another dog, right? So you're surrounded young guys with OGs that are dogs, right? So you're putting that mixture together, and like you said, they're exceeding expectations. They're going to continue to do so because they had the right mentality. They got that youth, and they're not scared. They go out and they'll play with anybody, and they don't have fear. Don't know if they'll continue to stay at 5th, right? Because we got some other teams that are probably going to be moving up soon. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I think it's actually a more solid team than a lot of people thought they would be. And when we speak of that goes double for number 6, the Utah Jazz. At one point, they were number 1, but still in that top 6 out west. I think this is still, what you say, 5 or 6 spots higher than where most people had them.
I would say even more. Utah, what they gave up, and you know what I mean. I know for a fact the majority of people said, "Well, they gave up Gobert, so they're gonna be terrible." Utah Jazz, gotta watch out. Clarkson's playing out of his mind. Moccasin, I think that's his name. They're playing out of their mind right now. They're, again, another fun team to watch. And you know something? That's one team. If I recall, Koo, maybe you can correct me. I think they got like 5 or 6 future picks coming up next year or the year after. So they got a whole bunch of picks. And if you watch Utah, man, they're not fun to watch per se because they got that old Princeton type game, but it's very effective. Get that Princeton type game. I'm very familiar with Clarkson because he played at Missouri when my boy was assistant coach at Missouri. So I'm very familiar with him. I've been following his career since he was at Missouri. And consistent. Them guys, no doubt, consistency. They don't go too high. They're more consistent. They stick to the game plan. They're more fundamentally sound, and they're going to be a tough team to. Again, they always seem to make it, but then they don't make it. like we talked about. We talked about Denver. Utah's in that same category. You know what I mean?
Yep. And Phoenix.
If they make if they make it to the Western Conference Finals, I'll be shocked. I'll be amazed. But then I'll have to think back and say, you know something, maybe not. You know what I mean? They got a good coach. They're well coached. They don't go out of there. You know what I mean? They stay within their lane, and they're very effective. And they're doing their thing. What else can you say?
And it's crazy because you think about, so a lot of people say, oh, without Rudy Gobert, they're going to be this, they're going to be that. I got to tell you, man, they fleeced. And I've been saying this since I heard the details. And I was like, this can't be right. They fleeced Minnesota. Straight up.
Absolutely.
They fleeced Minnesota. And then you get rid of Donovan Mitchell too. But it's crazy because you now got Jared and Vanderbilt. You still got Mike Conley. Marketing. You were talking about Lauri Marketing.
Yes.
You know, Azubuike, Rudy Gay's there. He can put up minutes for you. You got another big and Walter Kessler that you can go out there and get 5-6 fouls out of. Get a little bit offensively. Colin Sexton's there. Kelly Olynyk. So you've got a lot of guys. Horton Tucker, Malik Beasley, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. You've got a solid rotation there. And they put together a team that I think we didn't pay attention to. Like, I think a lot of us, we just didn't pay attention to, like, the pieces that they actually have there. Right. We're so busy thinking about what left that a lot of people didn't think about what was still there and what came in. Like, they didn't give away their major pieces and get nothing back. They got back solid guys, and Marketing is looking like a star on that team. So maybe he needed that opportunity.
And you know something cool, like you were saying before? You got a mixture of the youth and the veterans and the way they're working together. I'm telling you, man, watch out for Utah. Watch out. Watch out.
And I think I know your answer, but I'm going to ask you this question anyway. So 7 is the Dallas Mavericks, 8 is the Portland Trailblazers, 9 is the Clippers, 10 is the Golden State Warriors. Of those next 4 teams, which one do you think has the best possibility of knocking one of those top 6 out before the end of the season?
Golden State. Yeah. Golden State. You know, right now I think they're playing about 500.
Yeah, and, they're 13-13 right now. Yep.
Yeah, they're playing 500 right now. And then, you know, right now, a lot of people were saying, well, you know, they sent Wiseman down to the G League, but he's going to get more playing time. He's going to improve on things he needs to improve on. And you got them 3 veterans who have been there. They have been there. And now the rookies are getting their playing time now. Who's playing out of his mind? Well, he goes on and off, but I think, you know, when you got to knock off the champions, you know what I'm saying? You got to knock them off. I wouldn't put anything, but they've been there. They've done that. Of course, the way they're playing right now, I mean, but they lost 7 games in a row on the road. I think that they're going to, again, it's only the beginning of the year. And I think it's better to be playing great at the end of the year than playing so-so at the beginning of the year. Right now, they're 500, but NBA is a long, 82 games. It's a long, drawn-out battle. And I think that if you ask me my opinion, I would say Golden State.
That's fair enough. And just for the sake of picking a different team, Portland, baby. When Dame time is back, put Dame time on Portland.
Oh, come on, cool.
But look at what they're doing without him, right? You talk about how you don't have your star. Look at what they're doing without him, even without Damian Lillard. You got a team that's playing, I think they were above 500. Let me make sure. Yeah, they're 13-12, so they're 1 game above 500 without Damian Lillard, right? You've got Jeremy Grant playing at a whole nother level we've never seen from him before because he's got the opportunity and he fits well into that. So I think if you take what they have now, you add Damian Lillard back to that, we're going to see a lot of that when they come around the playoff times. And I think we're going to see them be a team that people need to watch out for.
You know, Houston, you know, they gave away Harden and they got Green, who's in the second year, and he's playing. He reminds me of a little bit of but he has that athletic ability. and they got the first round pick this past season. He's playing pretty good as well. I think they're going to be a team to be dealt with in the future. I don't think they're ready yet.
I'm not yet. Yeah, those teams at the bottom. Yeah, they're not.
But hey, for my man's time, I hope they come through for him, because that man has stood by and been loyal to his team, and that man deserves a chance to get a ring. So to answer you, I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to get there. I just don't think it's going to be this year. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think they'll get that far, but I think they will be one of those top 6 teams before all said and done that do not have to play a playing game to get into the playoffs. I definitely think they're going to get there by the end of the year for Portland.
I tell you, they're up and coming. A lot of teams that you would like Sacramento. These teams are going to get better, and that's going to make more parity for the NBA, and it's going to be more fun to watch. I mean, you look at Sacramento. Oh, I ain't going to watch them, but now you want to watch them. Houston Rockets. Who wants to watch now? Besides Dame, now you want to watch them. Yeah. So I think they're bringing a lot of notoriety to the NBA. I think it's good. I think it's good for the NBA.
Now we hop on over to the Eastern Conference. At the top, we got the tumultuous offseason of the Boston Celtics. It still hasn't affected them that much on the court. 21-5, top team in the East. What's your thoughts on the Celtics?
Well, Cool, as you know, I am not a Celtics fan, nor have I been, but you have to be impressed with the offseason. I guess you could call it shenanigans. They have maintained. I think that's due to the fact that they have a very solid veteran background with Smart and Horford. And I think that, them being there has helped the Celtics maintain kind of what they had last year. And now the fact, I always say, like my ex team, the Pistons or the Lakers or the Celtics, in order to become a champion, you learn how to lose. And when you lose, you learn how to be a champion. And I think the Celtics learned a lot in last year's finals. And I think that left a bad taste in their mouth. And now they got them, you got to get rid of one of the twins. Hell no. I don't know who ever came up with that.
Crazy move.
But anyway, you know what I mean? So you got them, and they're both young. Think about it. They're both young.
Young lions, too.
They got that veteran Horford. And then the addition they made at point guard is ridiculous.
Yeah, Malcolm Brogdon.
That's what hurt in the finals last year. They corrected that issue. They got the bench. They play great defense. And Williams hasn't even come back yet. Yep. They're going to even be better defensively. So as much as I'm not a fan of the Boston Celtics, let me tell you something. They go 1-12. Someone come back. The two, Hauser and the other one, they come off the bench doing work. Grant Williams comes off and doing work. I mean, the whole team has made major Pritchard. The whole team is making major contributions when they come in the game. And
getting contributions out of Noah Vonleh and Mafumbi Kabengele. That's how deep they go.
And
they have Blake Griffin. A lot of people don't know that, but Blake Griffin's actually on the team too.
Matter of fact, he got double figures the other night. And another solid guy to have on the team too. And he knows his role right now. He's not the player he once was, but I think he fits into the system. I think he's playing very well. He's doing whatever's required of him. He's a good role player. And I'm very impressed with Mazzulla. I know his family. I played against his family back in the day. And I never thought he'd be an NBA head coach. But anyway, he seems to have the respect of the players. And
if they stay with it, that man has to be coach of the year, period. If he's not.
I think so. If you know one thing about him, he doesn't really show any emotion. He's not high or low. He's just even keel. You don't really see him getting many technicals. You don't really see him. Of course, I mean, he relates to the players. He's not out there yelling and screaming at them. I think the players already know him because he was there. They respect him.
Yeah.
He coached. He was part of the Olympic team. I don't know if you know that, but they
Yeah.
respect him from the USA games, so they know him. And I think that has a major impact. I think Tatum and Brown had a say-so in who was going to be the next head coach. I think they wanted him, and I think that it's paying off in tremendous dividends. And the Celtics are 21-5. I mean,
they better had consulted their 2 stars before they decided. They better had. I mean, I'm not saying that you had to do it with who they number one person, but I think that's the problem you have in today's NBA. I'm not saying you have to go with that, but you have to at least get their input. They have to be part of that process if you're going to be looking for a new head coach. I think that Boston understood that and they did that. And that's why, like you said, it's working out. So I'm not going to spend a lot more time on Boston. You've summed them up very well. Milwaukee Bucks, 18-6, number 2 in the West. And just all I'm going to throw in about, I'm going to let you have it. All I'm going to throw in about them is one quick thing. Chris Middleton is now back.
You know, Coop, you basically just said it. They've been playing so well without him. And now you add him. And a big surprise to me, I don't know if you had an opportunity to check him out as much.
I watch a lot of the Bucks games.
Oh, okay. So then you know about Carter. Carter is he got that dog. Carter is no joke. And then they got Holiday, who is people forget he's a 6'5" guard who can take it to the well. Yeah, he can take it to the well. He's got a perimeter shot, and they got that guy in the middle. We all know him. I ain't gonna say nothing. We already know about him. But I mean, they have a very solid team. They didn't really give up much. I think they gave away DeFacencio. I think that's one of the guys. Yeah. They got rid of him, but then they got Brook Lopez. I think he's playing like he's 25. He's hitting. He has developed his outside game. He's blocking shots. He's rebounding. I mean, they are a tough team to deal with. And then that guy, we all know who he is. He's playing out of his mind. I would probably say he's probably the best player in the NBA right now. I think that. And then you just mentioned Middleton, and it's going to take him a while. Like you said, it's going to take him a minute to get back. When he gets back, I don't know. Milwaukee's going to be a team to deal with. I think they may end up. It's going to be between them and Boston coming out the East. I think.
I would not argue with that at all. And also, special shouts to Pat Connaughton and Bobby Portis. Those are 2 very important people on that team for the roles that they play.
Absolutely. Hey, and Grace is playing pretty good too.
Yeah, I'm always leery of Duke players though, so I always keep an eye on this. Like I'm watching you. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
Yeah, man. Some of those dudes, especially him, because he's a little of a dirty player in college.
Oh, no doubt. He one of them guys. You like him on your team, but you don't like when he's going against him. But he's one of them guys you like on your team because he's, like you said, he's dirty. He'll do anything he can. He's one of them guys, to play. I'm sure his teammates love him, but no one else probably does. But his teammates probably love playing with him.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely true, man. So we'll hop on to the next one on the list. 3rd in the East, not surprisingly to me at all, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Cleveland, again, when they lost LeBron, they basically went down. They went down to the gutter, basically. But through the draft and through the free agency, they have made vast improvements. And I watched them the other night, and I've been watching them quite a bit, to be honest with you. The backcourt is tremendous. Garland and Mitchell they're playing off one another like you would not believe. I mean, there was a question as to how Mitchell was going to fit into that unit. He's more than done that. I think he's having almost 30 points a game. I think Garland's having almost 20. And then they got the 2-headed monsters underneath. Again, they're an exciting team. Mitchell obviously has added something that they haven't had in a while as far as a major big time scorer. The Knicks messed up majorly, but we don't have to go into that. But I think that Cleveland is a team to be dealt with. They're 16-10 right now. Again, another fun team to watch. And Mitchell's the leader, but you got to watch out for Cleveland because, again, they have a few more picks coming up their way as well. So you got to watch out for that as well. But the two, Mobley and what's the other big guy's name? I can't remember. The other big guy with the big guy. Yeah, they're playing very well together. And as the year goes on, they're going to get better and better. And I tell you what, they're going to be a tough out. Don't sleep on them. Yep. Do not sleep on the Cavaliers.
And you got the other Lopez brother there, Robin. You got Isaac Okoro. And a lot of people don't remember Karis LeVert is also that, which was he was balling until he got hurt. C.D. Osman, another name to remember from that team. Mm-hmm. Man, when you go through a lot of these top teams, it's reasons why. Kevin Love is still there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
There's reasons why they're where they are. Ricky Rubio back or should be back soon from injury if he's not back already. So you're getting depth. You're getting guys that know how to play. You're getting veterans mixed in with the youth. Again, that's the theme.
Yes.
The top teams have that mix.
Absolutely.
Excuse me. And then fourth, well, actually, technically tied for fifth, but fourth, the Indiana Pacers at 14 and 12.
Mm-hmm. I feel it's tough because they have a tough situation. The fact that there's rumors that Turner and Hill might end up going to the Lakers, so I'm sure they have that rainbow or thing above their head as far as are they going to stay for the whole year or not. I think that plays on their mind a lot because you want some type of security. I think that Turner and Hill are playing great. Halliburton, I think he's in the league in assists, if I'm correct. Another young, up-and-coming player. Indiana is another team to be dealt with. Right now, they're 14 and 12. They're definitely a formidable team, and I think they're gonna be all right. They're gonna be all right. I didn't expect them to be this good. Again, the last, I don't know, I guess you would probably say last 7-8 years, they haven't been relevant, but I think they're working their way up, so they're going to be definitely a team to deal with as the season goes along.
Yeah. Now, they don't have as many of the guys that you may know, but they got guys like Chris Duarte, James Johnson, Isaiah Jackson. You talked about Halliburton, Turner, O'Shea Brissett. So these are guys, Jalen Smith. They may not give you a lot of points, but they do all of the extra stuff. Daniel Theis, another guy that's just a big body, is aggressive. He'll make some buckets for you. TJ McConnell, good shooter. So there's pieces there. But like you said, if that trade happens and you end up getting rid of Hield and Miles Turner, then this is definitely, or either one of those guys is definitely going to, be a big turn for that team. But as currently constructed, man, it's a solid team.
Yes.
They may be outplaying the talent a little bit, but that's part of being a really good team, right? You sometimes just outplay your actual talent. Mm-hmm. And then tied for fifth, the Brooklyn Mess, as I like to call them, at 14 and 2 as well.
All right, cool. All right. I'm going to try to be diplomatic. They last 10 games are 7-3. So they're on the road to recovery. It seems like they kind of have gotten over all that Kyrie mess. They seem to be playing a lot better. I think, to be honest with you, I think they need another big man in the middle to help out KD. I think that's what they're hurting as far as. But if they can establish a big man like Dwight Howard, if they can get an established big man that can help out, be a rim protector, I think that would help out the Nets dramatically. Right now, if you've been watching the Nets, they have not been utilizing Joe Harris the way they have before. They need,
Yeah,
I
that's
think,
real weird.
isn't it? I mean, he takes 4 or 5 shots a game. Curry's playing excellent, but he was hurt. He come back, but you do have an additional perimeter shooter. I like the fact that it seems like Kyrie. I mean, Kyrie's Kyrie. You know what? KD's gonna get you 30 a game, and I just think they need a definite big man, a rim protector to help out on the boards because that's where I think they're lacking. Defensive, they're playing a little bit better. I think they made a couple of additions to make them a little bit more defensive oriented, although they're still not as good as they probably should be. But again, if they can get a big man, I think that will better their chances of moving on as far as the Eastern Conference is concerned. And I'm worried about them not having that big man in the middle as a rim protector. But other than that, I mean, last 10 games, 7-3. They won tonight again. I think they're playing. They're on their way to doing some good things. I think they're going to be, if they get their act together, if Kyrie don't, who knows what possibly could happen with Kyrie. If he can stay under wraps, no injuries, I think they're going to be okay. I think they're going to be all right. They're going to be in the top 4.
I can dig that. Yeah. I mean, like you said, you brought up a very great point about them. Because if you really look at it, they've got Nick Claxton at 6'11", but he's not a big guy, right?
No, not at all.
Kind of scrawny guy. Then the only other really bigs they have is Day'Ron Sharpe and Markieff Morris, who are both 6'9". So you don't really have, like you said, that big 7 foot, 7'1", 6'11", kind of bulky, just enforcer type dude. Yeah, they don't have that. A lot of guards and wing players on this team as well, which could provide some concern down the line. And then the elephant in the room. I know he's had a couple of good games, but overall the season, let's really be real. Ben Simmons is going to be a problem for these guys.
Yeah. Again, I think they've come to the realization. I mean, he seems to be more aggressive than he has been previously. I mean, he had a 20-point game, if I recollect. So, I mean, he's playing better. But, again, consistency. You're either going to get 2 points or you may get 15 points. Right. So, again, I think he needs to get some type of consistency in his game and, know when to penetrate, because that's basically all he does is penetrate and dish, rebound. And that's another reason why the Nets need a cool, and they need another big man, because the Nets, to me, they're at their best when they're in the transition type game. If they can't get the rebound, they can't go in transition. So I think a big man would be beneficial for them in order to get the running game going, to get them into transition, so Kyrie can go into his bag of tricks. Harris can spot up a little bit more. KD's going to be KD. I think that's, again, Curry as well. So I think that they can be a team to be reckoned with, but they better utilize Harris a little bit more.
That definitely makes sense. So in fairness to the teams below, because of the 500 records, because the Hawks are 13-13, Knicks are 13-13, Sixers are 12-12, Raptors are 13-13, and then one game behind them, the Heat 12-14. So I'll just say, let's just do it this way. Between the Hawks, the Knicks, 76ers, Raptors, and Heat. They're all bunched together. They're all pretty much 8 games back, except for the Heat. That's 9 games back. So they're all under 10 games back of Boston. Which one of those teams do you think has the most staying power?
Cool. This is a tough one. I got to break it down to 2. I know you said one. I think Toronto and Miami are kind of like neck and neck. You know what I mean? They've both been there. They both have the experience. Again, Toronto seems to be playing a lot better. Siakam's playing tremendous. Van Vliet's playing very well. They got a solid team, I think. And then, of course, you got Miami Heat. I don't think Miami has much firepower as Toronto does. I mean, they got Strokes, they got Butler, they got Hero, and Robinson plays 25 seconds a game. I don't really feel they have that much depth as Toronto does. Now, if you asked me last year, I would have said Miami Heat. So I'm going to go with Toronto this time. I'm going to go with Toronto.
I'm going to be crazy. I'm going to actually go with the Philadelphia 76ers having the most staying power. Because I'm going to say you're going to get some of these guys back on the Sixers that are injured. Once you start getting some of those guys back, you're going to see a little bit of a better product being put out on a regular basis. I think when you had that team completely healthy, you were starting to see Embiid putting himself where he should be in the MVP conversation every year for probably the next 5-10 years. You had Tobias Harris stepping up, Maxey playing well. You had James Harden. So they have a lot of injuries over there right now. So I think health being a concern, but if they can get everybody back healthy, which I anticipate them doing here in the next 5 or so games, I think that's the team that can be that 5th or 6th best team in the Eastern Conference. I think that a run of unlucky injuries kind of have them sitting where they're sitting at right now, but I think they're a little bit better than that.
Cool. Something. You're making me change my mind. I didn't think you'd be able to. Maxey's been out. He's going to be out for a minute. Mm-hmm. I watched him tonight. They look pretty damn good. Harden seems to be healthy. He's playing at a very high level right now. Mm-hmm. And Tobias Harris is taking that next step up as well. I like what the team that they have. They're playing pretty well. I watched them tonight. They look, and B went out of his mind. And you got a great point. I think once Maxey comes back, to give him that third option, I think I'm gonna roll with you on this. I think I'm gonna have to go Philly. I think I'm going Philly. I changed my mind.
There'll be a couple of people on the network that'll be very happy to hear your change.
I know. I think I may get fired. I think she might shut me off right now. I'm sorry, Key. All right, I'm sorry.
Yeah, man. So, Conman, did you have any last thoughts before we go on and get up out of here for the night?
Yes, I do. It's been an honor and privilege hanging out with my boy Coop tonight. It's been good. Hopefully next week we get more of the crew in. But it's been a pleasure, my man, and I hope everyone who's watching and listening that they have a great night and tune in next Friday night, 10 p.m. as we will be here and one podcast.
You already know, man. You already know. So I got one thing I want to play for y'all. We're gonna go ahead and drop that. But I just want to shout out Sports Empire Network, all the other shows. Make sure y'all hop in, tune in tomorrow morning. Couldn't get that out right for the Big Dogs on Campus, our college show. Of course, they'll be talking what's happening with the bowl games, playoffs, all that good stuff. But make sure you check them out, man. And plenty other shows every day of the week, every evening. Check out Sports Empire Network. There's always something great going on. A lot of good stuff to watch. And as you see behind you, there's something else that's going to be coming soon. Stay tuned. And with that, we'll go ahead and end the show for the evening. Appreciate you guys, but make sure you pay attention to this outro.